Linda Thielfoldt, and I want to share with you some accessories you can't live without. These have been a lifeline for me with my quilting, and I hope they will be for you as well. I want to start off with one of my favorites, and that is this really nice magnifier. This thing is just amazing. It's very large, clamps onto your machine. It's flexible, so no matter what machine, whether you have a Gambel or another brand, you can probably mount this on your machine relatively easily. And you can adjust it so that it's in the proper position so you can see through it, see the needle, and if you'll notice on this quilt, there's some really tiny micro stippling. And I did that with the help of this. I'm old and my eyes are bad, so this is key. The next accessory is a small spool holder. That mounts on the top of the machine right back behind the switches there. And that is really, really valuable if you want to use some small spools. Now, for example, if you have a quilt that maybe you don't want to invest in a large cone of thread, or you just have a specific color that you need for a certain area on a quilt, a small spool holder will allow you to use different sizes of spools and proceed through your quilting easily and with great results. Another important accessory, and one that I can't live without, is the Gammill throat plate. This mounts on the underside of the machine. Some people call it a base, some people call it throat plate, but whatever you call it, it functions in a way that you can use a ruler and have some stability. So as you're quilting, you draw the machine head, the hopping foot rides right next to the edge of the ruler, and as you guide it, this is very stable. If you don't have this, and you just have this down on the quilt surface, it's going to rock around. It's going to be very difficult to sew next to that. So this is really, really important. Another important accessory to me are casters. They mount on the machine table, and this is what comes on your Gammill. These are 4 little feet, and these are removed. The casters are installed, and the great thing about having casters is if you're like me and your studio or your sewing space is a multi-function room, it allows you to move your table easily, clean the carpet, whatever you need to do in that space. It just gives you a lot more flexibility, and I wouldn't be without them. And last but not least, I want to share with you an accessory that I made. This is a homemade accessory, but this is the clamp this is actually off my machine. Has your typical Velcro strip, and on the opposite end of the clamp I just sewed a little square of muslin. It encompasses the end of the Velcro strip, and this allows you to pin this to the edge of your backing. And you may be saying, well, Linda, why do I need to do that? Why is that important? Well, sometimes this clamp is just a little too heavy and you get some drag. It actually pulls this down, and that could be bad depending on the quilting situation you're dealing with. Another reason, and this is a perfect example right here, those of you that quilt for hire, you may run into this, where your customer has brought you the quilt top and the backing is not very wide. Now, if the clamp were on here, as it normally is, you're going to run into this clamp as you try to quilt all the way to the edge. The underside of the machine is going to actually hit this clamp, and you probably won't even be paying attention, and what will happen is it will cause you to skip or to, mess up your design. So if you don't have the clamp there and you just have this little edge pinned on here with this mounted on the machine as you normally would have, then you can quilt right up to that edge, not have to worry about hitting that with your machine bed, running into that clamp, and again, it's less weight. So this is a homemade accessory, but one that I think is really, really valuable and helpful. I hope you find all these accessories as useful and helpful as I have. Just remember, all these, with the exception of the one that I modified, are available at Gammill. I'm Linda Thielfoldt, and remember, Gammill helps you realize your dream.